Hello and welcome to this chat view with Rob Ballentine and the
English Sisters. Hello, Rob.
Hello.
Hey, good morning. How are you both today?
Very well, thank you.
We are.
We've had some lovely news because our children's book is out on Amazon.
Yes, that was very exciting.
So we've got 2 books out now. One Amazon and one in Italy. So we're really, yay! It's a big thumbs up for ourselves.
Yes.
Oh, brilliant, absolutely. Yeah, I saw your book this morning. I thought, oh my God, they've just written a second book.
I know. It's all coming so easily, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, when you don't, you know yourself, when you don't work as hard at something, and you just sort of get into the flow, things just seem to happen all by themselves in a natural way.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of what most people think, I would say.
Well, you're just sort of going in that direction. You're going with the current as opposed to going against the current. And it's a lot easier to just let yourself go and go with the current.
I suppose it's like flowing downstream on a little boat.
Yeah.
Once you're in the boat and you've got your oars and you're sitting there and it's a lovely day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you can enjoy the scenery and you're just happy because you're on the little boat and you're flowing downstream and there's no hard work involved.
No, there isn't. It's once you're on the boat and you have the right tools, of course, and obviously we do with the NLP and so do you, and that's what we've come here to talk about. So...
Yeah, I mean, I just want to talk to you about your books.
That'll be for another time. But we've got Mr. Rebel in front of us.
Yeah, and you look like a rebel today, so we want to know what you're up to, Rob.
I dressed up just for you. I got my Rebel t-shirt on.
Wow.
You know, I got the hair that's a mess. I went to my stylist, and the stylist looked at me. She said, "Rob, you cannot go with nice-looking hair, and don't speak as if you're an English gentleman either." Rock and roll. So don't shave it off. Look nice and terrible. I hope I have the prerequisite rock and roll rebel look. If I don't change.
No.
That's perfect. Perfect rebel.
Perfect rebel.
And you are actually doing some rebellious things, aren't you, with NLP?
Sorry,
with your coaching program, you're doing some rebellious things.
Wow.
You are going against the stream, I hear.
Yes, yeah. The stream has been going one way, and I've decided to go the other way. Since we had the metaphor of boats earlier on, and let's just continue with that lovely metaphor. It probably started a long time ago. Now, I'm not going to give you a whole potted history because that will just take too long. Even the potted history would just take too long. Having done NLP for quite some years and taught quite a number of different people, both in business and out of business, the consistent thing that most people kept on coming on the courses for was they want personal change. And even the people who come along and say, look, I want to do it for business. I need to do it for my job. I've been told to go on this course. It's going to be really useful. Must do it for my business. Invariably, after day 2 or 3, they all turn around and go, you know what? I actually want this for myself.
Right,
so,
yeah.
You know, as much as there's this first agenda, which, you know, even from business people, which is, I want to use it for business, which is cool because, you know, they still want to be able to take the skills and use it back at work, you know, with their staff, with themselves, with their clients. Invariably, they also want to learn some skills to change some manner, aspect of what they're deemed to be not happy with. And having done the master practitioner courses, some master classes, hypnosis courses, blah, 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 blah. I've done it in businesses, I have some great clients with that. But I always felt that there was a degree of restriction on something like the practitioner or the master practitioner courses because you have to follow some kind of, and I use this term loosely, accredited format. You can't stray beyond that, really. You can say, well, here's some stuff that I've been developing, here's some stuff from some other things, but we need to get back on track, because at the end of the day, people pay to learn the course. They pay for the material, and they also pay to a degree for the certification. Doesn't mean to say that just because they pay for the course, they're going to get the certification. But this is all part of the program.
That's right.
That's right.
So they have expectations for that, and you have to meet their expectations, because that's the right thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And because my main interest really falls into this area called modelling, throughout the courses I tended to, I didn't tend to, I did model what was happening throughout the courses, what was happening with the people, what was the interaction between myself and them. I was testing various different aspects and different parts, and really trying to find out how can we make the learning of this far easier. How can we allow people to be able to take the skills out and then go and transfer it back into their lives, where they don't have to continuously keep coming on the courses. I mean, let's face it, a practitioner course, a master practitioner course is not going to leave you much shy of £3,000. I don't know what that is in is it lira?
Euro.
No, it's euro now.
Well, yeah, I'm still back in the old century. Euros, absolutely.
Euro's more romantic, isn't it?
What you're talking about. Where was I? Rambling on about something. Yes.
Putting it into you were saying they're very expensive the courses.
Yes. They are.
Yeah.
They're very expensive.
Yeah. So they're very specific courses, and I wanted to find out, how can you make the learning easier? How can people start to apply some self-change? And this really started a long time ago when pretty much after I had done my courses back in 94, 5, 6 and stuff like that, I had a guy who was in music college, and he would play the guitar in the most bizarre and unusual way. So he would play it not left-handed, but he would play it the other way. So he was a Jimi Hendrix style. It was upside down. Instead of having 6 strings, I think he had 7 strings, and the strings were tuned in a completely unusual fashion. And he was in music college. Of course, everybody at music college was playing the guitars in the normal way. 6 strings, generally to the left or the right, and that was pretty much it. So he had really done things back to front, and he was struggling so much. But he was a good musician, and he had a great ear, and he was very creative at what he did, but he was struggling with the course. So we were just chatting, and I said, look, I'll give you a hand, see what we can come up with. Anyway, he started to come up with this metaphor, which is, I just feel like I'm completely in prison. And I went, that's interesting. And previously, I've been spending some time working with one of my fellow practitioners who we'd met on the practitioner course, and we've really got into some really wacky, weird stuff, all about dreams and following down, really going down the rabbit hole of dreams, and then checking out where they come from, what do they mean, and all this sort of stuff, and just playing with it, really. And we were starting to create a kind of a very loose model on the meaning we can ascribe to the metaphors that we get from our dreams.
Right.
And so based on this, I started to work with this guy on his metaphor, which was, I just feel in prison. And I thought, well, this is really interesting. How does he get that? And there's this whole thing about a prison, which is he was contained inside something. And the assumption is he's inside and there's something outside that he wants to get to but doesn't know how to. And of course with the prison, the general thing is with the metaphor is that there's someone locking it, or it's locked somehow, and some kind of key to get outside, and he doesn't know how to do it. So we were able to use this metaphor and start to work through with the metaphor with him to use the assumption that just because he's looking or has an awareness in a certain direction inside the metaphor, that there may well be things that he hadn't noticed while inside that cell of his. And so we could use the assumption of, as you're looking where you're looking, you may well have not noticed yet, but to your right, there's something that you hadn't seen, and you don't know what it quite is yet, but the more you look closely at it, you realize that it looks as though it's a bit of metal. And as you get closer and closer to that bit of metal, the most interesting thing and fascinating thing with the brain and the mind is not everything is real or it is as it seems. So this means that piece of metal that you saw, the closer you get to it, it starts to look and transform itself into a key. And then you can take that kind of assumption, and then as you've got this key, you notice that as you move towards the door, for some unknown reason that you hadn't realized before, it starts to open it. And, of course, you're always working back with the non-verbal feedback to check that there's no kind of resistance to it, like, don't want to open it. If you get this sort of backing up, then that sort of structure for the metaphor that you're using, you've got to stop with that and start moving somewhere else. And so I started playing with this guy, and then, we got him outside here, and then we had this whole landscape with which to work with. And so we had transformed his personal metaphor by moving outside. And now it was, where can he go outside with metaphor? What places can he visit? Where's, using the kind of NLP tools of, find the resource. If we use a metaphor for it, which is to find, what's a resource that you could find inside the metaphor that has some kind of iconic meaning for you, that you can gain access to. And, we continued doing this, and, lo and behold, he went back to college, he passed and had an amazing time, he got everything he wanted. He struggled for a little bit, but he I don't know how he did it, I'm not that kind of, I haven't got a clue, but somehow he managed to retranslate what he did with his guitar and how he played in connection to the way that he was being taught. So he made that translation, cross between here you are playing this way, this is the way that everyone's being taught to learn it, and he somehow found that bit in the middle that connected it all together. So this is the first kind of start of, this is really interesting.
Wow.
We're able to really tap into the power of the unconscious mind, the ability to create and transform what appeared to be something extremely difficult and frustrating for him on the outside. But on the inside, it was really connected all beautifully in this wonderful metaphor.
That's right.
Wow.
That's the power of metaphor, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I bet he didn't even probably realise he was using the word prison.
No, he didn't.
It was just part of his vocabulary.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of started to take me more on this journey into the realm of metaphor, wanting to find out, how does it work? How are you able to really quite simply, create incredible change of people? And on one of the courses that I did, the practitioner course, probably one of the early ones, and I actually built this into the program, but mainly because someone's metaphor came up, which was, my life is just, I just feel like I want a hamster wheel. I thought, this is really interesting, and the way that she talked about her life and what was happening in her life was this hamster wheel, and you could see from the outward gestures that she was going, I just keep going around and round and round and round, and I just don't know how to stop or get off. Well, she's just giving you the access to what she needs, which is how to stop it and how to get off.
Yeah.
And because she's doing this with her non-verbals, with her arms, she's also giving you the speed and the pace by which it's going. If you match and mirror this and start using kind of fancy language, I understand that currently you're on this treadmill and you just want to know how to stop. And the great thing about anything that goes round and round and round...
Get her off! She's making us tense. Turn it into a track that goes off into the distance.
Poor lady, she really wanted to get off.
What did you do to her to get her off?
He paced her, he used her same metaphor, her language, and then you stopped the wheel. What did you do?
Yeah, slowly began to
slow down.
Reduce my pace.
Right.
My hands
Leading
around
and pacing.
So it became matching the leading, non-verbally. and then offering the scientific explanation of, and the great thing about things that go round and round and round is not everything always continues to go round and round and round, because perpetual motion at some point, because it doesn't really exist, not at this temperature, stops.
That's
Stops.
relief.
It's time to allow yourself to begin to get off the wheel. And so one's really sort of paying attention, watching the non-verbals and checking what's going on. And then she got off the wheel. And then as she got off, you start, asking more questions about the metaphor, like where are you, what do you see, what do you hear? So she starts to fill in more and more information. And the depth of trance is really quite phenomenal. They are not in this world when you're talking to them. They are completely, utterly involved inside their metaphor. And it's so intrinsically powerful that you've also got to be quite careful as well, because some things will come up as part of metaphor. I found out with some other people. So you've got to really be careful with the kind of things that you do.
Yeah.
So I started to listen to the whole structures of how the metaphors were working. There's this whole holographic process that inside the metaphor is another landscape. It's a landscape inside the mind that the metaphor is kind of contained inside this larger sphere, or a larger thing that hasn't been explored. And when you start to begin to open it up, you can maneuver people just using standard kind of NLP processes and procedures to change the metaphor. But it's extremely powerful.
Absolutely
Fantastic.
And so I really started to want to learn and understand how the structure of the metaphors work in relation to the unconscious mind. And really what we have is you have this thing called the conscious mind, and you have the unconscious mind. And metaphors, as kind of a metaphor for explanation, sort of sit beautifully in between. It's like, you speak Italian, I speak English, you also speak English, so you act as a translation between the two different cultures. In a way, this is what the metaphor is. It's a translation between our outside world, our conscious mind, and also our unconscious mind. If you understand the structure...
That's a lovely explanation, yeah.
And if you understand how the metaphors work, you create this beautiful change between the unconscious and the conscious mind. So everything else taps straight in without having to... necessarily go, well, okay, can I speak to your unconscious mind? The unconscious mind goes, yes, no, maybe, whatever it might be.
I don't like that. It's a bit taboo, isn't it?
Yeah.
Still, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Can sound a bit weird. Hopefully it'll be, in a couple of years' time, it'll just be normal to do that.
Yeah.
In normal conversation, we would love it for a normal person, in a normal street, everyday life, just to say, oh, how's your unconscious mind today? What have you been doing with your unconscious mind today? Has it been creative?
Yeah.
Just take a moment, just go back into your unconscious for a while, for a few seconds. I mean, wouldn't that be lovely? Just not we just grew up with that. I mean, we're teaching our children that.
We are,
so, our children are going to be like that. They're always coming up with funny little jokes about NLP and hypnosis. You're putting me into trance. I'm just going into trance now.
Yeah.
And it's just part of
they're putting their teachers into trance.
Their everyday language. But it's a bit like, sex wasn't talked about a few years ago on TV, was it?
Yeah, no.
Or, there's quite a lot of taboo issues that weren't talked about, that are talked about now. And it would be lovely if this could happen with Rebels like you going round.
Yeah, Rebels would be doing
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should go up to people in the morning and say, good morning to you both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get that. Well, there would be two of us here. Look, we're going to have to say goodbye, Rob, because your line has been cutting up a lot. So we're going to see what the quality is like of this recording. Otherwise, we might have to do it again.
Okay.
But hopefully it'll be okay.
Hopefully,
because it was really lovely.
It was lovely.
So where can people get in touch with you?
Get in touch with me on Facebook, /NLP courses, which I might change sometime, but definitely rebelcode.co.uk.
Perfect.
Okay.
Rebelcode.co.uk.
Okay.
Okay,
Rob Ballentine. Bye.
Bye. Lovely.